Let's go to Oklahoma State now with head coach Mike Boynton at the podium.
I don't know if we're quite back to where we were in 1920, but we're certainly far away from where we were a year ago heading into last season. I like our group. They work hard. They're good kids, and I just look forward to getting back to work here so we can get ready for what's going to be a challenging season.
Okay, questions for Coach? We got a question on the second aisle towards the rear.
Hey, Mike. Yeah, Eli Letterman, Tulsa World. You guys added size and depth to a team that already had a lot of size and depth. When you look at the talent atop this conference, what are the factors that give you confidence you can compete up there?
Thanks a lot for the question, Eli. I feel like our program has taken baby steps in the right direction each year. And revamped our roster in 4 years to where we feel we can be really competitive on a nightly basis. And part of our issue we felt last year was we didn't have enough interior depth. We had a lot of perimeter depth, but we also played Cade and Ice inside a lot and posted them. And we didn't have a ton of depth in terms of rim protection. And so it was an area of concern as we went into the offseason recruiting. And we added some depth and size that we think will be able to negate some of the issues we had. The kid Musa Cisse, who was the American Freshman of the Year, with a 7'6" wingspan. Tyreek Smith, who's a big physical body as well. And then we thought we needed to address perimeter shooting as well, which was an issue for us at times last year. And we think we did that in Bryce Thompson and Woody Newton. So, when we looked at our checklist going into the offseason, we feel like we really got the job done in a recruiting sense. But also we got a bunch of guys returning from last year's team who had success that we need to continue to be better and step up their games as well.
Further questions for Coach? Got a question over here on the outside right.
Hey, Mike. Isaac's a local guy for us, Drew Davison, Forward Star Telegram. How have you seen his growth? Especially, I know he's not going to be a three-point shooter, but he obviously improved in that regard last year, just from a percentage standpoint. But what do you expect from him going into his senior season?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Drew. I think the most important thing that I've talked to Ice about really since the end of last season is owning this team and taking the ownership mentality. I remember still going into the 2003-2004 season as a senior myself at the University of South Carolina, the sense of urgency I had knowing that I was going to be it, and what I wanted my legacy as a team player to be. I wasn't a great talent, but I was the leader of the team that I played on, and I knew that how our team performed was going to be directly related to how much ownership I took and how we prepared and how much I tried to carry out Coach Odom at the time, his mission for our team. And that's what I've challenged Ice with is, he's got to be our leader. He's been through the most. He's had success. He's had some struggles. He's taken on different roles for us. He was a 2-year starting point guard for us. And then last year we brought in the number one player in the country that played the same position. So he took a different role. And I was proud of the way he handled that. But now we need him to step up and be that guy who passes along our message from our staff to our players every day in the locker room. And not just go out there and play well and put up great numbers, but have a pulse of what winning looks like and making sure that that's happening every day, whether we're practicing or whether guys are going to class or the way our locker room looks, all those type of things that really matter but go unnoticed sometimes.
We had a question in the middle towards the rear.
Dylan Rivera, Gaylord College of OU. Coach, you've been a part of the OU-OSU rivalry here for a few years. What do you think will be like with the change of head coach and then with some changes down the road?
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. Obviously, I think Porter's one of the more elite coaches in the country. The success that he was able to have at Loyola obviously speaks for itself. And I've gotten to know him on a personal level. He's a good friend. I have a lot of respect for him. And I think he's going to do a really good job. He's going to recruit well. He can coach. And obviously they've had success from a basketball program standpoint. So I expect him to continue to be good. As far as it relates to the league, no one really cares what I think about that. So I don't really give it much thought. I've got a job to do to help make sure Oklahoma State's as good as we can be. I don't know if anybody's going to ask if I want to play them moving forward. I don't. If we do, we will. If they say no, then again, those decisions are going to be made way above me, and I'll do it the people who are in charge of doing what's best for the athletic department as a whole, and that being, Chad Weiberg and our president, Dr. Shrum, will just follow their orders and do what they think is best.
We got a question on the aisle middle.
Christine Butterfield and Grant Gauntlet. There was a really big player in Cade Cunningham, and he's left, but that was just one player. You have a huge, big group of players that you can choose from with a bunch of talent heading into this season. I know you touched on it earlier, but do you mind expanding on that just a little bit? Just from a roster standpoint, kind of breaking it down? Yeah, so thanks for the question. Yeah, I mean, again, a lot was made of Cade, as it should have been. For our opinion, he was the best player in the country, and he was a big part of the success that we were able to have. But we also had a lot of other players who contributed in different ways to us, finishing 11th in the AP poll last year and having the third best record in what we thought was the best league in the country, and playing in this building on the last Saturday of Big 12 competition for a Big 12 Conference Tournament Championship. And so that I think some of those experiences are things that we'll be able to lean on with the guys who went through it to know what's possible. And so when you talk about people like Ice, who's a senior, but not only him, Avery Anderson, for what we thought was the most improved player in the Big 12 and maybe in the country, had a lot of success late in the year for us. We're going to need him to continue to improve. Rondell Walker, who's here today, is a kid who showed some flashes, just wasn't as consistent throughout the season. Matthew Alexander Moncrief, another guy who was a freshman last year. And then the guys we talked about adding. So we feel like our roster is really healthy. And it's going to be one of the more competitive teams that has been at Oklahoma State in a long time. And I don't know if we'll be better than last year's team if you just look at the talent, because we do not have the #1 pick on our team anymore, right? But we do have some other guys who are going to have a chance to maybe make it at that level of basketball. And when you have multiple guys like that and you get your guys to buy into each other, it gives you a chance. And that's all we're looking for, is to go out there and give our best every day for our fans.
This will be the final question for Coach over on the left-hand side.
Brendan Dworzinski, WIBW Radio. One of the guys you added this year, Bryce Thompson, obviously played against him for a few minutes anyway in league play last year. Bryce Thompson, when he was at KU. What did you like about Bryce's game, and what's he going to provide for you guys this season?
Yeah, so you may know this, but I've known Bryce. He's from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I've known him since he was a freshman in high school. Had a really strong relationship with him throughout his high school time, and recruited him for a long time. And so I think when things didn't work out for him at KU for whatever reason, he thought it was, the relationship that we had was something that he wanted to maybe try to explore again and see if it was a fit. I think some of his reluctance was whether he would be accepted because we had recruited him so hard with the current players on our team, with a lot of them coming back and knowing him. But those guys, to their credit, they just want guys to be all in. And Bryce has been all in since he's been back. He's a really good scorer, but more importantly, he's a great kid who works really hard and cares about winning. And so I look forward to the opportunity to see what he can do in terms of helping us offensively with the shooting we talked about lacking last year, but also he's going to make some improvements from a defensive standpoint as well.
Coach, thank you for your comments, and best of luck for the season.